Okay, first I want to apologize. It's been very long. It's been at least 4 months since my last vlog. Well, not vlogs, we'll call them podcasts since there's no real footage. But it takes a lot of time because it's very upsetting when you're not there to defend yourself and you reread paperwork that was generated from literally years ago, and it's very upsetting to me. But we're going to carry on. So the last two videos that were videos, last two podcasts that were done, where one was the January 3rd police report reading, the other was the letter that was sent to hopefully reconcile and to move forward with this. Unfortunately, that failed. There was never any response to my letter. Anyway, let's review real quick. The January 3rd World Police Report did mention that we won't mention names. We'll call it the wife had an appointment on Thursday, January 5th, 1917. 2017. The bottom of the police report, just to review real quick, was there is nothing to substantiate a crime of any nature, and no justification existed in the husband's actions that would require transporting him. The wife declined officers' aid in assisting her exit, stating she would rather gather things herself and contact her lawyer, whose name she could not recall. The wife did say her father and siblings live within 20 miles. And then it was forwarded. So here is a reading. Again, the good news is that, the truth is the truth, and there's a lot of different sides to it. But my paperwork is very specific and exact in my reading. And, you can spin stories and, make your own conclusion. But here's the bottom line. So on January 5th, which is only, 2 days after my wife had picked my son up at school with her, pre-planned, we'll call it story, to go to her sister's house and stayed there. On January 5th, she went to the courthouse and filed the following. My husband blank has shown erratic behavior and owns a gun. I left the house for a safe place with my son as Warwick Police recommended for our safety. When I returned home, I saw a .50 caliber bullet next to bed, and our wedding photo was removed due to his erratic behavior and instability. I am in fear of my personal safety. I believe the .50 caliber bullet and picture removal was a message to me, a threatening message. That sounds pretty bad, and I guess if I were a judge, I would say, "Yikes, what's going on?" The reality of it is that before January 3rd, I had torn up the picture in anger, and it's not good. It was on the what do you call it? Chest of drawers, the wedding picture, and the .50 caliber bullet that she makes sound dramatic was the casing, one of the casings that was next to the bed that my son and I used to play with and enjoy. And I mean, this happened before the police ever were called on January 3rd. But according to this, it sounds pretty bad what she says. So that was on January 5th. The reality is okay, it was filed, and on January 6th, she had to come with a notary. She had to come back, I guess, to the family court. And the reality was the judgment, based on that testimony, whether false or not, they don't know. The reality is, it says the wife blank will be granted custody of blank, and that the husband be vacated from blank street, and that, of course, the husband surrender his firearm. Well, okay, so we discussed, I don't know if I discussed that immediately, when I found out that there was a order moving, telling me that I had to vacate the house. Of course, I left. and I turned in my firearm to be sold, which it was before the hearing date of January 23rd. Anyhow, I guess the sad thing that I need people to understand, anyone listening, is that you can twist things around and make them sound really bad and threatening, but the proof is, by her own admission from the police report, is that I would never. The firearm was purchased for home protection because of my health condition, my heart failure, well, congestive heart failure and AFib. And the reality is I panicked, and I'm not a perfect person, but good grief. They jumped and said that I had to vacate. And of course, the rest of this paperwork, no contact is that, you can have no contact with your child. And that is sad because to this day, years later, there has been no attempt by the wife to even try to contact or with my family or anyone to try to make this better. And I guess that's the sad thing, because the story is that I understand is that the wife is sticking to her story that I abandoned uh, my son, and that's just it's very sad. And the courts, siding with the women, I guess, with the social climate we live in, with these crazy people. They're not going to take any chances and listen to me or go by my history, of whether I have a record or any kind of anything. They're just going to read, a statement and say, yeah, over an abundance of caution. Well, yeah, let's kick him out of the house where the locks are changed, and I can't even go to this day, to get my possessions legally on a house, on that I paid for 12 years exclusively supporting the house. And I don't know, just the whole thing makes me very sad. So this is just a cautionary tale for people. Just be careful with the people that you're with, and even when communication stops, and they're not talking to you. I guess my mistake is that you have to. I guess I don't want to say kiss ass and be, but you have to be, I guess, the better person. But the problem is with me in my state during that, troublesome, Warwick police, visit, is that I was in so much shock and anxiety over my medical condition that I couldn't communicate with her. And that's very sad because I think that a child needs to know that his parents love him and that they're there for him. And I'm not there for him. I had to leave, vacate the house, and I will be put in jail on a felony account if I broke the restraining order. Anyhow, enough said. Make your own conclusion, anyone who's listening, and we'll call it a day. Thank you.